What is happening? And welcome back to the channel. Now, if you are new here, before I get tore right into this video about how the miles made me, what I want you to do is take a wee second and just scroll down and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you are interested in getting yourself to peak performance. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break down my story on how I've got to this position that I'm in now. Currently sitting in a studio recording a video for my YouTube, because you might be watching this, you might have stumbled across me and see this confident, energetic, bubbly guy. And if I'm being real, it never used to be like this. And see, to be honest, for a long while, man, I didn't ever think it would be like this, man. So first and foremost, man, why is it I've called this How the Miles Made Me? To be completely transparent, right? I believe that in order to live a life that brings you excitement, clarity, confidence, and a life adventure, if you will, you need to put the miles in, both physically and mentally. And see, to be honest, every time I come back to my story and I review it, ever since I can remember as a wee guy, I've always been putting some sort of miles in, right? But what you're going to notice throughout this story is that when I was putting the miles in at the start, it wasn't from a good, energetic state. And what I mean by this is, it's a bit of dark energy. Because when I was a very young guy, a lot of people would say that my back was against the wall. And not in that kind of way where I didn't have a good upbringing, right? I had a very good upbringing. My mum and dad done very well for me, and they always put myself and my sister Natalie first, and I will be forever grateful for them, right? But at a young age, man, I get hit with a few situations that will knock somebody for six, to be completely honest, right? Especially if they don't really understand it. So first up, when I was, I would say about 7 or 8, right? I basically get diagnosed with dyslexia. For anyone that doesn't know what dyslexia is, I struggled with reading, struggled with writing. It can go into different elements, right? But for me, it was reading and writing, right? But on paper, that doesn't sound too bad. And to be honest, I actually never thought it was too bad. But then the kicker came in when I was a wee bit older, which we'll get more into, right? But so you get an understanding of why my dyslexia ran wild when I was younger, was I got diagnosed with OCD when I was a wee bit older. I got diagnosed with OCD when I was about 13, 14, right? And we'll dive into that. But for anyone that doesn't know, it's obsessive compulsive disorder, right? And it plays a lot inside of your head. Now, if you can imagine this, right? I'm at the ages of 7, 8, just been told that I am dyslexic. There's a lot of stuff that goes on inside my head. I'm very aware that I think differently to a lot of people. And even at this point, as I say, between the ages of 8 and 13, or 14, sorry, I didn't even know that I had OCD. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing, to be honest. And it did knock me, because you notice really, really fast that you are on a different wave level to a lot of people, right? And what I can do to you from a young age, right, it can put you in a fight or flight mode. Now, a lot of you people will relate to that, right? But maybe not even from a young age, right? Because if you look around, 80% of people, maybe 85% of people are in that fight or flight mode. Now, for me, with being dyslexic, that did knock my confidence. And I started to realise these things inside of my head. And I say realise, I started to tell myself this wee story, right? That I wasn't as good as everyone else. I wasn't going to be able to achieve things. I was always going to be held back. And like this gets ingrained in different ways, right? You notice that you're not really getting the same marks as your mates. You notice that you're getting put out of the class to work with a support teacher. You notice that you're just doing things a wee bit differently, right? And in my head, I always wanted to be like one of the guys in school, like one of the cool guys. Do you know what I mean? And that didn't really strike you as one of the cool guys, man. And it did really, really get to me, man. And then it really started to kick in a wee bit more when I went into secondary. For anyone else, it's just high school, right? And this is, I say, when I did start to realise that I had OCD. And it was mad, right? Because see, the moment that I realised I had OCD, it's like, I always wonder this. I knew I would have figured out at one point, right? But I remember watching a documentary, and I can't remember the class. One of the, genuinely can't remember off the top of my head, man, right? But what I found out was we watched a documentary around about David Beckham, and it turns out obviously he's got OCD, right? And it was funny, man. Me and my mate Roscoe were just sitting watching this, and Roscoe's obviously one of my best mates. And as we were watching it, he just turned around to me and went like, "You do that?" And I was like, fuck, I actually do that, man. And as it started to kind of grow and grow and grow, I started just kind of click and go, I've got the tendencies, man. And like, see, for me, right, it was always around about the number 3. The key word here, right, it was always, right, was, because we made some moves, man, to eradicate this from my life, right? But back then, 14 years of age, everything revolved about number 3, right? Had to move the door 3 times, had to fucking close the door 3 times, had to move my TV 3 times. Everything came in threes, and like it started to trickle into school, man. And remember what I said at the start, right? Where I wanted to be this cool guy. You imagine like walking into the classroom, man, having to shut the door 3 times, man. Imagine trying to do that discreetly. But imagine what this is doing to your confidence. Imagine what this is doing to my belief in what I can do in life. Do you know what I mean? And then on top of that, my grades just weren't that good. I'll be real, man. I felt fucking stupid, right? And that done a lot to me, man. It really knocked me for 6. But again, right, back into the OCD. when this really started to get prominent and very, very, very hard was I remember I went back to the doctors once about it, and I must have been about 15, right? And it was a local NHS man, and the doctor sat me down, asked me what I was in for, and he literally looked at me and my mum and said, we can't do anything. It's literally sitting up here helpless. I was like, what do you mean you can't do anything? I was like, mate, I can't sleep at night. I'm only getting 2 hours, 3 hours at max on a good night, up and down. My mum and dad are getting irritated and not like getting angry at me. They're just seeing their son struggle. And like any parent, that would make them upset. Do you know what I mean? And then you're getting told off a doctor that you can't do anything about it. And I understand, man, right? Maybe there wasn't as much studies back then or whatever it is, right? But imagine being 15 years of age. You're doing these things that I thought was fucking weird and being told there's nothing that can be done about it. So see that fight or flight mode? That's getting stronger. And again, man, like I'm still trying to figure this shit out. Still trying to figure out who I am. Still trying to figure out fucking life. Trying to find my place in the world, man. And then I'm like, oh no, I'm always going to be this pure weird guy. I'm always going to be this person that needs to do things 3 times, that is going to have limited sleep. It's going to get overwhelmed very, very easily. It's going to be different from the rest, man. And again, that was quite a tough pill to swallow, man. But see what was starting to happen here, right? And this is like the kicker, right? Because my decisions back then, right, really, really had a big impact on my future. And for a while, they weren't actually a very good impact. It's actually a very negative impact. Because I quickly noticed, right, that see if I smoked weed, I'd be able to fucking sleep, man. So, in my opinion, man, that was the option. And according to the doctors, man, that was the only option, man. So, every night, started smoking a joint, and before you know it, I was getting stoned going into school. I was patching school to get stoned. And the funny thing is as well here, right, while all my mates were out getting drunk or whatever it is, right, I was just sitting getting stoned, sitting buckets, doing what I thought was going to find me peace. But added into this, anyone that understands OCD and dyslexia, overwhelm's very, very prominent in that because your head's going all the time, man, right? You never really rest. And if you're smoking a fucking power of weed, yeah, man, you're going to end up pretty fucking anxious, man. And that's exactly what happened, man. But then again, instead of me going, right, how do I actually find inner peace? What else can I try? And then this is where the kicker came in, right? And even to kind of give you a wee bit of a backstory in this before we go into where my life started to go after that point is, I was a very active kid. Like, I played football since a very, very young age, all the way through until I was about 17. To be honest, but bang average footballer at best, man. A few of my mates will be watching this and go, hi, not even that, man. But played football all my days, was right into running. I remember like the kind of highlight for me was 800 metres in primary 7, man. First year, primary 7, can't quite remember, man. I won gold down at John Wright's, which was pretty cool and stuff like that, right? So I was pretty active. I was on this pure chase to be excellent at something while trying to figure out what was going on in my head, man, right? And then you start going down this route of like drugs, try to self-medicate, try to find fucking peace, man. And I keep saying that word peace because this was chaotic, man. And I know a lot of people will be able to relate to this, right? You may have ADHD, you might have OCD, you might have other stuff going on, whatever it is, right? And you've maybe been told off people that you look for help from and have told you nothing can be done. See, at that point, man, you're like, whatever needs to be done. So, again, back into high school, right? I was 16 years of age. I started drinking a bit more, started not caring about things. There was stuff going on in my personal life that led me to probably a position of just feeling quite numb, mate, if I'm being honest. And then came along ecstasy and more dangerous for me, cocaine. And it all started off like anyone in the central belt of Scotland. And I do say anyone because I believe that 80 to 85% of people go through this, man. Because Scotland has this ability to drag you into this terrible way of living, man. But then you fucking normalise it, man. So cocaine became very, very prominent. And before I know it, man, I was hooked on it, to be completely honest. I'd stopped playing football. The colour had went through my face. I had bags under my eyes. I was a terrible person to my family and just completely lost myself, to be honest. And that went on for 5 years, really. As I say, from probably the ages of 17 to 22, it became a very regular thing. I started getting involved with like the wrong crowd and stuff like that. But the key of this, man, is like I wanted to be fucking seen. I wanted to be heard, man. Remember this wee shy guy, man, that had his dyslexia going on, his OCD going on, he'd developed anxiety, didn't think anyone could help him. And I was like, right, okay, man, maybe my calling's in the drug world. Madness when you're actually a young guy sitting going, this place is to be a wee druggie. I'm quite a half decent runner. Football and stuff was kicking about. I had good people around me, man. But this is what I seen as the only option, man. And because of that, I lost about 5 years of my life, man, just through cocaine. Like I was in a dead-end job that at the time I hated, but when I actually look back at it, that place actually done a lot for me. They helped shape me. They helped me become a bit more strong-minded and they helped me find my voice. But above all, man, they actually were one of the people that gave me a helping hand when I didn't think anyone else would. And it's mad because at the time I was so like, bastards, man. Like, yous are horrible people. They are what they are, a bit old school, but they actually did help me. And I need to be completely transparent with that, man. So shout out to my old work for that. But if I'd stayed there, I don't even think I'd be here, to be completely honest, because it wasn't for me, man. But at the same token, right, they came in and helped me at a time of need. But there was a very, very scary period in my life, man, where I didn't want to be here. I was taking cocaine every single day. I was just numbing myself at every opportunity. It wasn't even just like let's get full of cocaine. It was like, get full of whatever the fuck I could get my hands on, man. Because again, it allowed it to be quiet. And what I mean by quiet is it allowed my head to be quiet. But what I found funny as well, man, it allowed me to be seen, because at that time of my life, everyone thought I was this kind of like fun guy to be around, always the life of the party and stuff like that. But in reality, man, I was just trying to keep myself occupied and away from the fact that I had no idea who I was. And that went on. And when you're in your teens and stuff, cool, whatever. Like, what teenager knows who they are? Do you know what I mean? But when I got into my 20s, man, I was still acting like a 16-year-old. And again, man, like, I'm sitting here at 29, right? I'm still figuring shit out. Do you know what I mean? And we all. But at this point, man, I got so focused on being heard, being seen, that I went down the wrong path, man. Do you know what I mean? And I nearly did lose my life because, as I said, it was a very defining moment that I will always remember. And every now and then I go back to the spot just to sit and just take it in. And to be honest, if you are capable and you're willing, I think that's a very, very good thing to do if you have been in that position before. So basically, I sat on this bench just near my house. My niece go bride had written a note, had made peace with it, and I was just taking in the last 5 minutes of my time on this earth. But you know, the mad thing is, and ever since this moment, man, I've been a very strong believer that the universe has its way of sending you signs, sending you signals, but testing you as well. On that day, it was a sign that I got sent. So I basically sat on this bench and just looked up, and there was just a dog, a dad, and a kid just playing football. Like, literally, just running about, punting the ball in there. The wee guy was trying to control the ball. The dad was pure laughing because he's like, we're not going home until you can control this ball. So you be honest, man, I was looking at how high he was punting. I was like, brother, I don't even know if I could control that, mate. So that was quite a funny thing to notice. But see, just sitting there, man, like, I just noticed that there was more to life. And it was like that wee moment, it just clicked, man. And it just changed everything for me, man. It was like, you might say it was like an epiphany, but it was just this realization, man. And I just kind of sat there and went, what the fuck are you doing, man? And like, it all just started making sense that from the ages of 7 all the way through to 22, man, I was just this guy trying to fucking find his way, trying to make a name for himself, felt stupid, felt lost, felt confused, felt like nobody could help him, man. But I wasn't willing to help myself, and I was putting everything on everyone else. I was like, how am I meant to figure this out? Can you not help me? But see, in reality, man, it's my fucking life, man. And from that moment, I just had this realization that that was the day that I was going to turn my life around. And that was at 22, 29 now, right? I've never looked back since. But on the whole, it's not been easy. And see, if I'm being fucking real, it never will be easy, man. But if you think about it, like, why would it be easy? You know what I mean? Like, building your dream life, dream physique, dream mindset, having an impact on people, fucking living a life adventure. Like, it was never going to be easy, man. Do you know what I mean? But at the same token, see, sitting getting full of cocaine, get mad with it, doing nothing, fading away, getting pure skinny fat, eating takeaways all the time, doing nothing. That ain't easy as well, man. You can convince yourself that that's a cush to life. See, when you wake up every morning feeling stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, angry at the world, tell me how easy that is when you're in that. Because trust me, it fucking ain't. So, we've got to this point where I decided enough was enough, man. I've never ran back to a house so fast to rip up a note, because I was like, they can't see that. So I ripped up. And from there, man, I was like, hey, let's go, man. Let's make a change. And I'll be honest, man, I was fucking clueless on how to make that change. But I just knew deep down, man, and it was something that my dad had installed in me, that I had this grit between my teeth, that I was going to make something in my life. And I'll be forever grateful for my dad for installing that in me, because my dad's like a pure traditional Scottish dad in the best way possible, man. I love him to bits, man. His energy, his wee quirks, the way he just goes about life, man. But he will always show up. He will always think about family. He will always show you what it is to live, fundamentally. But not just live and do things, but to feel. Because I've seen him stick around certain situations. I've seen him show up and defend me and the family when most people wouldn't. And I do strongly believe, man, that between my dad and my mum, the things that I've seen them do and overcome was a massive part of me overcoming my shit, to be completely honest, man. I'll be forever grateful for it. And even like my sister Natalie as well, man, the adversity that she's faced. And it's really cool when you like look at that as a family, because anyone watching this will probably relate to that in some way. Like, somebody in your family's probably went through some shit that when they got through the other side of it, it inspired you to sort your shit as well. And again, that brings me to the next point, man. That's why it's very, very important, man, to just have the right people around you. And at that point, man, my family, Georgia, and my friends, well, my close friends, were the right people to have around me. So moving on from this start, if you want, like where it all started to kick off, man, we've got a good picture of a shy, anxious, want to be heard wee boy, man, who ended up just down this really bad path, man, of just, I call it the Central Belt trap. You know what I mean? where you just try to act cool, man, but really you're just slowly fucking killing yourself, man. It's mental, man. But I get it. I really, really do get it, man. A lot of people are lost. A lot of people are trying to figure it out. A lot of people are fucking scared, man, right? Which is cool. But this is where it comes down to you, man. You need to make that change. You need to be willing to step away from it, man, which is hard, which is really, really hard. But in that moment, when we decided enough was enough, I had this like kind of urge to help people. I always did. And I was actually talking to one of my mates about this the other day. There was like a short period where I was like, I think I'm going to become a therapist. Don't know, man. It felt right. It might have been because I was getting help from the Priory, speaking to people in there and seeing what therapists were doing and the kind of work that they were doing. They worked with CBT, everything like that. And I just kind of seen it as this pure cool thing. But then I started training. I started getting out of the gym, started doing some bicep curls. And I was like, fuck, I feel good, man. And then before you know it, man, it started to click that I was like, I can do this. That can be my calling. And see at that moment, right? It wasn't just like, let's become a coach here, right? The energy changed. It wasn't simply, let's survive. It's like, fuck, I'm going to start thriving here, man. And that kind of changed everything. And as I spoke about at the start here, right, the energy was way off the full of my teenage years, even younger than that, right? But from that moment of that bench where I was going to kill myself to understanding I was going to become a coach, it was only about an 8-month period, right? The energy had shifted. Yeah, I still had a long road to go, right? But the energy had took a dramatic turn. And it wasn't, as I say, this energy where I wanted to just get by, or it was a dark energy to just pull myself out of a fucking rut. It was this high frequency, this good energy, this electric feeling of going, fuck, I'm going to have an impact on people. And that moment was the first kind of moment that I had a feeling of purpose, man. So I went away. I'd done my level 2, my level 3 qualification, all while still working in that old work. And then I just decided one day, I was like, fuck it, I'm done, man. No safety blanket as such. Just went, I'm gone. I'm going to take a chance here. And I remember it, man. It was during COVID, right? And I actually remember speaking to a lot of people close to me that I very much value their opinion. And this is one of the messages I want you to take from this, right? Everyone around me said now is not the time. But I put a bet on myself and I went, fuck it, when is the right time? So I took the chance, left my job, and just went fully self-employed as a coach and just went and seen what happened, man. But I trusted myself because, as I say, man, like my energy was up, my mood was up. I had this vibrant energy, man. And I just knew that I was going to make a very strong name for myself, man. But I had that belief in myself. And I hadn't had that belief in myself ever, to be completely honest. So see, when I felt that for the first time, I was like, I am fucking going for this. I am going all in here. And now, turns out it was the best decision that I ever made. So when you look at this coaching journey, right, first of all, I started working in a small group PT gym. Performance, man. Shout out to Ian, man. One of the greatest guys in my life that really showed me a lot. And I'll be forever grateful for it. But then after that, it was just time to move on. After working there for, I think it was about a year, right? I made some great connections, some great memories, man. One of the best years of my life. It was just so fun. It was like there was so many good people, man. I always had a laugh, man, because there was a lot of like mums in there. And I was like, it was like having an extra 100 mums, man. It was so cool, man. They were all lovely, man. But as I say, there just became a point where it was the right time to go. Because I started to go, right, what else can I do for me? Like, how can I build my brand and have the impact on people? And then Team Full Reset came about, which was my coaching brand, the first ever one that I created. And the whole point in that was to help people reset. Basically what I done from the moment I sat on that bench to Team Full Reset was a full reset for me. I mean, like I started training consistently. I started doing some events, started looking after myself, came away from taking drugs. I just turned my life around, man. And I was like, right, let's fucking help people do this. Let's show them what they can do, man. So we started doing a lot of work on people's mindset. We started getting people in the gym. We started getting people feeling fucking good, man, right? But then it got to a point, right, where I was growing as a person and I didn't want to just help people feel a bit better. I was like, I want to just do more. I want to get people to the peak of their abilities. But what I didn't realise at the time was I had to get myself to the peak of my abilities so I could actually speak to them, so I could understand them, but so I could help them find that extra edge. Because see, these people that want to get to the peak, they already know they need to train. They already know that they need to eat their nutrition. And it's one of the ones, man, most likely you know what you need to do. But for some people, most likely yourself as well, you just don't seem to do it. But that's where my growth became the extra edge. And I'm a strong believer in this, right? You can only take someone as far as you've taken yourself. It's like if anybody came to me and were like, can you get me ready to go on stage as a bodybuilder? I'd be like, nah, mate, it's not my bag. But can I get you ready for an ultra and help you find peace inside your head? Fucking too right, mate. I do it daily inside the extra mile. So we turned our focus from full reset to how to get people to go that extra mile. And it just made sense, man, to just change and rebrand to the extra mile. And that's evolved over the past 2.5 years, man. And my focus now is to get people to peak performance. And when I talk about peak performance, man, it's not just like, yeah, let's get you a fast 10K or whatever. Cool, man, we'll do that anyway. But I want you thriving in every area of your life. There's too many people in this world that are simply just fucking surviving. And if I'm being honest, man, it actually annoys me because they'll tell you how hard that is, how rough this is, or how they can't do that. I fucking get it. Like, I've been there, man. I've been as low as you can get and I've turned that around. And I'm not saying that as like a get your fucking finger out. I understand the psychology behind it. It is tough. Your back's against the wall. You're trying to just fight every day. You've got your guard up. But fucking promise you this. If you're willing to get around the right people, you're willing to work, you're willing to actually find some peace inside your head, and you're willing to do that nasty work. Not the fucking nasty sessions, but the nasty conversations, the nasty situations where you need to make change. You feel uncomfortable, you're unsure what's going to happen here, and you're going against what you've done for years. That's where the real growth is. That's where peak performance actually comes from. It's more than a six-pack. It's more than a sub 40 10K, more than an Ironman. Yeah, they're all byproducts, but peak performance is actually being in control of every single area of your life. That's your headspace, that's your nutrition, that's your training, that's your physique, that's how you show up in your career. That's who you are as a man or a woman. It's as simple as that, man. So, as the extra mile evolved, so did I. And over the past couple of years, man, I've done some pretty cool shit, man. And do you know what's actually really cool? I was reflecting on this before I came in and recorded this YouTube. I set some goals for before I'm 30. And as of September, I'm going to have them all done besides a few. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to run the length of Scotland. I've done that. I wanted to travel the world. I've done it twice. I wanted to create a brand that helps change people's lives for the better. I've done that, man. And then one of the other goals was to become an Ironman. And I am, you double check this, 7 weeks away from that happening, which is so cool, man. And I'm a very strong believer in like doing the things that scare you. And the reason why an Ironman fucking scared me, right? I didn't swim at the start of this year. Like, genuinely, man. I actually met one of my mates in the swimming about 2 months ago. Was it 2 months ago? About 2 months ago. And I thought I was doing all right. And he was like, nah, mate, you're just surviving, to be honest, man. Which is cool, man. But we've improved the swim for now, right? But see, when I say I was scared of swimming, I honestly, man, terrified of it. Absolutely terrified of it. But ever since I've leaned into that, I've got total confidence in what's going to happen in September. And I've got total confidence in myself. But above that, man, right? Even the stuff I've done in the past, my first half marathon, my first high rocks, first photo shoot, running the length of Scotland, they all had a part to play to get up to this, right? Because you will look at people in the external, right? They're running fast, they're lifting weights, doing double sessions, they're posting their Strava splits. And on the outside, you're like, whoa, I might be that guy. Mate, you might have watched me when I ran the length of Scotland and went, fuck, I want to be him. Or I want to be like him. See, underneath, man, there was another rebuild happening. Shit wasn't great. As I say, my OCD was still there, but I just had a calling in life. So the noise got a wee bit quieter. And I get distracted. And above all, everyone around me get distracted as well. But what doing the hard thing has taught me, right, is that you can run, you can lift, you can eat a fucking protein, right? But see, if you don't tackle what's going on in your head, man, doesn't matter. You're still going to burn it. You're still going to feel fried. You're still going to wake up with that terrible feeling in your stomach, which I was. But then I had the wake up call after running the length of Scotland. Now, if you don't know what that was a 540 kilometre run over 10 days. So an ultra marathon a day. And the cool thing of it was, man, like me and George had just done it. Like, it was mental, man. Obviously, I trained for it, right? Which was a whole thing in its right? Because the first time we were travelling, we were in Bali, we were in New Zealand, we were in Australia and stuff like that. And that's when I was training for Run Scotland. So like I was running in like the South Island in New Zealand. If anyone knows New Zealand, it's hilly. Up very high. The altitude is mega, right? And then anyone that's been to Bali, everyone says you can't run in Bali, right? I call bullshit on it because you can. Just need to be brave, to be honest, man. And running back-to-back marathons in Bali and the jungle and stuff, man. And in Australia, just in the heat. So my training was a quick driving from top to bottom. I would run 20k. George would drive 20k. I'd have like some food and then go again. And this was the past the next 10 days, man. And honestly, man, what an adventure. Like, to go off a subject a wee bit, see if you get the opportunity to do something like that, fucking do it, man. Like, it's the fucking most rewarding thing you'll ever do. And video it. Not even just so you can put stuff off as content, man, right? Show your family it, man. Like, I remember sitting watching the vlog. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it, man. A couple of years ago now, but right? Beware, I swear quite a lot on it. But as I say, like, see, watching it with my mum and dad and sister, I was like, brilliant, man. But as I say, the Scotland run, that was like the moment for me where I noticed, whoa, you aren't as ahead as you think you are. Yeah, I just ran 540 kilometres, right? But my physique was shit. I had constant wee niggles. My headspace was all over the place. My OCD was fucking rife. And see what I actually done is, right? See, after the Scotland run, I'd done multiple events after this. Like, within 6 weeks, I was doing High Rocks Poznan with my mate Josh. And don't get me wrong, man, that was one of the best races we had, right? But I was doing it all for, like, the wrong reason. I was just like, right, be this guy. Show up. Do the events. Do the thing. Do you know what I mean? But closed doors, still only getting 4 or 5 hours sleep. OCD was rife. Getting all agitated, was getting overwhelmed. And then on the other side of it, when it came to like the extra mile, I'd started to create this like monster, if you will. And it wasn't like a pure, I say monster's like a kind of bad thing. It was like this brand that was built on sand. It wasn't really me. It was influenced by a lot of people that I very highly regard as well. I was just very easily influenced, man. And I kind of lost my voice in that. So between the fatigue of the Scotland run, chasing down events, basically a fucking brand that was all over the place, still getting results right enough, which is pretty cool because that's always been at the core of it. But I lost myself a bit. And that was last year. And when I say I lost myself, man, like I had this full vision that I'd ignored and started focusing on this other vision. You know what I mean? I had staff, I had Georgia doing work for us. I was just going all the time. I was grey, my bags under my eyes. I was pretty ill, man. But because, again, man, on paper, ran only for Scotland, was getting some sick times in my 10Ks and stuff, man, doing decent high rocks. Everyone thought everything was good, man. It wasn't. It really, really wasn't. And it didn't actually hit me until I went away travelling for the second time. And it'll pure sound cliche, man, right? Because people go, fuck what you talking about, man. But see, when I went away the second time, I was like, fuck, I've found myself, man. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I was like, all right, that's sound, man. And I done a lot of work on myself, man. But mind what I said about the universe and stuff, I have a big belief that it will do things to you. So I changed a lot in the business. We got rid of a few things, ripped it up. We brought in the extra mile method, which I'll go into. But we changed a lot of things, right? Now the universe was like, okay, Kieran, if you want this, you need to fucking work for it, man. So it fucked me up a wee bit. Done a few things. I got hacked online. Systems all got deleted. We had probably our quietest January in terms of everything that was happening, man. And it was a test, man. But I fucking stayed true to it. I was like, this is the mission I'm on now. This is the vehicle I'm driving. And this is the direction I'm going. But you see what happens here, right? See, if you wish for something, if you want something, right? The universe will test you. Some way, shape or form. Something will happen. Maybe directly correlated to it. Or another thing will happen in your life. Now, you can call that by chance. I don't think it's chance. I genuinely believe that it's doing that for a reason. It's got a way of working, right? And I was getting tested by every means necessary. Honestly, man, it was tough, man. But we stuck true to it. And now, I've never been so fucking clear on who I am. I've never been so clear on where the extra mile is going. We've never got fucking better results than what we do right now. Like, some of the guys are just killing it, man. We've got guys that are pushing for ultras, 100-mile races, completely transforming their physique, changing their career, coming away from addiction clinics. Like, the level of results inside the extra mile, all you need to do is go to the Instagram. If you follow the page, if you know what we do, then you'll know this already. But all this is happening because of the work I'm continuing to do in myself. And it's that hunger to improve that a lot of people lose, man, when you get to a certain point. And it's like that phrase, man, like, don't ever be the smartest in the room. That's the way I've kind of lived recently, man. Just really homing in on that and thinking, like, how can I improve? And it is that kind of way, man, where you're looking for some problems, man, and going, right, let's fix that. Let's do this. And see the key one here, right? And this is the coolest one. See that OCD that I was talking about? I've eradicated about 95% of it. I got told off a doctor, man, you couldn't do that. I'm like, that's sound, bro. All because I've allowed myself to get really clear on who I am, found some peace, but I've challenged it and I've worked towards it. And I've been brave with it, man. Do you know what I mean? So again, man, like, on this third rebuild, if you will, because remember, man, addiction, new job, and then rebranding and changing the extra mile to who I am. We're on the third rebuild here, right? During that time, man, this is the most I've been able to find myself and just be at peace with it. And again, man, it's just pure excitement. It's like, even this and now, man, right? I'll be transparent, man. I've got my laptop here, man, my notes. It's shut because I'm just in a flow with it. And this is what it's like, man. And I'm not saying that you need to come in and do things like this or whatever, right? But most things I do in life right now, I'm just in a complete flow. It's not met with friction. It's not met with anxiety. It's not met with stress. I'm just like, let's go, man. And it's gravitating good things towards me, man. And I can hand on heart and say, man, this is the happiest and most excited I've ever been. And we've got really clear on the mission because next year we've got something really fucking cool coming up, which is class. And I'm just very, very much excited for it, man. But going back into the extra mile as a whole and away from me for a second. So you heard me talk about the extra mile method that we've installed since the start of the year, right? You'll hear a lot of people talking about their methods, their frameworks, how to get results. See, my extra mile method, mate, that's how I live. As simple as that, man. I am the proof that my method works. Like, I'm in the shape of my life. I'm strong. I'm fast. I'm doing some hard things. Every day my life's a bit of an adventure. Most days I do what I want. Not that kind of way where I just chill out in that. Obviously, I've got responsibilities. That's cool. But I'm in control, man. I'm in the driver's seat. Nobody else. And this is what I breed into my clients. It's not something that sounds good. It's something that I live by and something that I believe in. And that's where the stabilise, ascend and command framework comes into place. Because what you find is, right, a lot of high performers, they actually need to stabilise before they do anything. And what I mean by this is they need to get routine, they need to get structure, they need to slow the fuck down, man. But understand why you're not slowing down. Because you're meant to be this guy that has his Strava times, turns heads, does cool shit, traveling the world doing high rocks or whatever the fuck it may be, right? But you need to ask yourself, man, are you doing these things to just do them or are you wanting to get better? See, if you want to get better, then you need to slow down a wee bit. You need to get that nervous system a bit more regulated. You get a bit more connected with yourself. You need to understand who you are. You need to get clear in the fucking mission. That's what Stabilise does. Then you've got Ascend. Inside of the programme, right, this is where my guys start to transform in every shape of the form. The physique's different, the conviction's different, the way they show up's different, even the way they walk is different. You can just feel it off them, man. And on top of that, their Strava times are getting faster as well, which is pretty cool, man. We can't lie. And then you've got the final phase of command. And this is a hard one to get into, right? But this is where you're just in control 365 days a year. You're in shape 24/7. Your physique turns heads. Speed on the feet is incredible. Strength is up. But above all, man, you've got complete peace with yourself. You know what you want to do. You know what mission you're on. And you're willing to take on the challenges that come ahead. Because remember what I said, man. If you wish for something, you're going to get challenged. A lot of people ain't willing or ain't capable of winning the challenges, because their head's scattered, the stress is up, the worry's up, the overwhelm is everywhere, man. But that's where command comes in. We get you exactly clear on who you are. And that's why our mantra is, it's not what you get, it's who you become. And along the way, you start to understand this. It's not about meal plans. It's not about the training splits. It's not about the personal development books. It's about discovering who you actually are. And that's exactly what the Extra Mile does. And that's what gets you to peak performance in every single area. So if you've got to this point and you're really interested and intrigued on what the Extra Mile can do for you, simply scroll below. You'll be able to click onto our website, have a wee read through, watch the video on it. And if you want, click the discovery call and get booked in for a quick 20-30 minute call with myself. We'll have a wee chat. We'll break down exactly where you are and I'll show you what we're going to do to get you to that next level. But above all, get you to peak performance. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, give this video a like, share it to someone who has to hear it, and please subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with myself, the Ironman training, and also the Extra Mile.